Welcome students to your English literature session for class 8th. The chapter which we are going to study today is chapter number 14 from the book Reader, and the name of the chapter is The Kid. Now let's see what is this chapter all about. The Kid is actually a silent movie, and this chapter, the story is not about that movie. It is about how the actor and the director, the maker of the movie, Charlie Chaplin, how he came across with a co-star. In 1921, The Kid, an American silent comedy drama film written, produced, directed and starring Charlie Chaplin and featuring Jackie Coogan as his adopted son. This story is about how these two came across each other and how they ended up doing with each other. What is the story of these two meeting each other and how the story went on between them? The story is all about that. The story is also an extracted version from the autobiography of Charlie Chaplin. Now let's see what the story tells us. After Sunny Side, Charlie Chaplin, it says, I was at my wits' end for an idea. It was a relief in the state of despair to go to the Orpheum Theatre for some distraction. There I saw a dancer, nothing extraordinary, but at finish of his act, he brought on his little boy. Now, Charlie Chaplin went to a theatre to see a program for a little distraction, or maybe we can say time pass or a type of refreshment. He went to the theater to look at a theater program, to look at a play where an actor was acting, and at the end of the play, he saw the actor bringing his little boy, his son. Everybody at the theater, the stadium, they liked the boy. A boy came and acted for a few seconds, but everybody was mesmerized and with the engaging personality of the little boy. He was so active, so cute, and so presentable at the stage. Even Chaplin was really happy to see that boy, the charming little boy, on the stage. Now, thinking about that, the story moves ahead. I did not think of him again until a week later, when I sat on an open stage with our stock company, still struggling to get an idea for the next picture. Now, one day, what happens was, Mr. Chaplin was sitting with his team thinking about the next picture or thinking about the next film, what should be the act or what should they direct. Until that moment, he didn't remember that boy. In those days, I would often sit before them because their presence and reactions were a stimulus. Those days, that day I was bogged down and listless. My mind wandered and I talked about the acts I had seen playing at the stadium, at the theater, and about the little boy. Now that was the time one day when he was sitting thinking of a new act or trying to invent a new play. He came up, he his mind was filled with the thoughts of that boy, the little boy. His name was Jackie Coogan, who came on and bowed with his father at that time on the stage. Now, when he asked about that boy, someone said that he had read in the newspaper that Jackie Coogan has been signed up by a competitor of Charlie Chaplin, or maybe we can say a fellow director by the name Roscoe Arbuckle. Now, there was a competitor of Charlie Chaplin, his name was Arbuckle. Somebody told Chaplin that that boy, Jackie Coogan, the small boy, has been booked by this director for the next film. As he heard this news, Chaplin was heartbroken and disappointed, as he remembered of that boy and he thought that that boy would be a great help for him, and that boy would do good in his films and he can take the boy with him to work. Suddenly he got this news that the boy was booked by Arbuckle. It was a very disappointing news, and It was also a type of failure in front of his competition and competitor director, the Arbuckle. That how Arbuckle booked the boy before Charlie Chaplin. This was a very disturbing news for him. Ideas flew at him. Can you imagine the tramp window mender and the little kid going around the streets breaking windows, and the tramp coming by the mending them. Now the same things were going on, and they were discussing about how to do a new film and what can be done. About some time After some time, about 11:30, we see in the page, Charlesley Robinson, our publicity manager, came hurrying on the stage, breathlessly excited. Now one of the fellow persons of Charlie Chaplin, her name is his name is Carlisle Robinson. He came to the stage and told everybody that it's not Jackie Coogan that the director Arbuckle had booked. It was the father of the boy, Jack Coogan, and the boy is still free with no work. Everybody was happy, and especially Charlie Chaplin jumped out of his chair, and he was very excited to see that boy as soon as possible, and to sign that boy for his next film. He was electrified. There was a difficulty in finding the father, because without talking to the father, they could not take the boy. So Charlie Chaplin ordered the team to find the father. At last, the Jackie's father showed up, and Charlie Chaplin offered the father to give the son for the opportunity of a lifetime, and he told the father that he wants to work with his son. Then the father was surprised that, why do you want my young son? What could he do? Chaplin said that, you don't know what your son can do, and you can't imagine what I can make him. I just want to work with your son. Your son, if you will let me have him for this one picture. The father agreed. Then was the day with Jackie, when Jackie and Charlie Chaplin met with each other. This was the time they started to work with each other. The boy was a little naughty and high spirited boy, but somehow he was so intelligent, and he was so much ready to grasp new things, and he learned so quickly that there was not a difficult time for Chaplin to teach acting, how to act to that boy. He did well. Having worked out on the mechanics of the scene, Chaplin told Jackie to watch him how to act. Eventually, they both started to work well, and they started to make a film. The name was of the film The Kid. He rehearsed the scene 3 to 4 times, and then he went on working well. It was a problem for the boy to show some emotion, because obviously he was a young kid. He could act well, he could show his acts, but he could not show the emotion because he was a happy, naughty boy. Of course, not all the scenes were accomplished very easily, but somehow it worked well. The simpler ones often gave him trouble. Once I wanted him to swing naturally at the door, but having nothing else on his mind, he became self-conscious, so we gave it up. This is how the movie between both of them worked well. And they both started to get along each other, and they both started to like each other. Charlie Chaplin was really very fond of that boy, and that boy also started to like Charlie Chaplin, because he really treated the boy very well. One day there was a scene where the boy had to cry. At that day, Jackie's father was also there at the shooting, since he had finished his contract with Arbuckle. Uh, Chaplin told the father there was a problem with the scene, and the boy had to cry. The father said that he can make the boy cry easily. Chaplin said, if you could do that, please. The father said something in the ear of the boy, and Jackie started to cry. And the scene was finally shot. The scene was a success. Later, Chaplin asked. Chaplin saw the boy crying, and he felt very bad. He turned to Jackie and picked him up in his arms to console him. His cheeks were still wet with tears. They are not going to take you away. Chaplin asked the father what had he told the boy. The father told him, Jackie was in such a gay mood I had not the courage to stay and watch. When the father would do so, I went on my dressing room. A few moments later, I heard Jackie yelling and crying. It was a scene in the rescue. The father had told Jackie that there will be people who would take you away. Jackie told Chaplin while he was in his arm. I knew it, he whispered. Daddy was only fooling. When Chaplin consoled the boy said that I know Daddy was lying, he was just kidding, he would not let me go. And that is how the movie ended. In the last line we can see it's written, I turned to Jackie and picked him up in my arms to console him. His cheeks were still wet with tears. They are not going to take you away, I said. I knew, he whispered. Daddy was only fooling. The boy was so smart. This was the extracted short story from the autobiography of Charles Chaplin, also known as Charlie Chaplin. Conclusion of the story, a very interesting story of two people coming across each other of different ages, a very big age gap, but how they coordinate their work and they love each other, and the performance which they do comes out to be perfectly done. Notes will be there after this session. Thank you and have a nice day.